Of course, we would like to close more jobs. After all, there isn't a whole lot of difference between the amount of time you spend with the customer and writing the estimate between the jobs you do get and the jobs you don't get. In fact, there's no difference in it. So either way, you're going through the same steps, same amount of time. Perhaps right now your close rate is in the mid 20 or 30%, and you want to see it higher. And why not? Everybody wants to have a higher close rate. And if you don't examine what you're doing when you're talking to the customer and evaluate what you said, how you built value, your close rate's going to stay the same. It reminds me, like, I like to play golf, and I swear, if this is no exaggeration, I could hit 10,000 golf balls on the driving range trying to stop a slice. But if I don't get a lesson, if I don't examine, if I don't videotape what I'm doing, my golf swing, if I don't really analyze what I'm doing, my results are going to stay the same. There's no way around it. And if whether you're new at estimating or you've been doing this for 30 years, if your close rate is what it is and you know it can be higher, you're going to have to reevaluate what you're doing. And so I ask you in this video to stop for a second, be honest with yourself, find out where is it that I could really truly build value, have a higher close rate, and enjoy more success. Um, Going back to the golf analogy, every time I hit a golf ball and I slice it, fade it, whatever, shank it, the the swing has given me feedback on what I'm doing wrong. And every time we don't close a job, we don't get the answer of exactly what was missed. Why did the customer go with somebody else? So we're going to have to be very critical or of ourselves and say, how did I build value? Did I reinforce that? Did I call the customer up and send them an email a second time, a third time? Um, did I do the discovery questions? And we're going to go into all these things. But if there isn't self-reflection, then there really won't be any opportunity to see any growth. And I feel very strongly that if you bought a Klappenberger and Son franchise or you work for a Klappenberger and Son franchisee, you have a distinct advantage over other companies because we have the training, we have the experience of being able to know how to build value. And we're either making a choice to do it and to use these tools or not. And I really, truly want you to see your close rates. Everyone's close rate should be at least in the 40s, if not the 50s or low 60s. I'd love to see someone smoke that and beat that. That would be fantastic too. All right, so let's go back into this. Here's some numbers for you. If you estimate, let's say you estimate 10 jobs a week, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but just for numbers' sake, if you estimate 10 jobs a week and you can close two more, so you go from like 25 to 45%, and your average job size is about $4,000, those two extra jobs is 8,000 bucks a week. If you multiply that by 50 weeks a year, that's $400,000 without giving an extra single estimate. You've increased your gross sales dramatically. Now, if you disagree with my average job size number or the number of estimates you can give, or even the amount you can close, I'm fine with that. That's perfectly fine. Plug in whatever number you like, and I believe you'll come to the same conclusion that I did. Increasing your closing rate by any amount is good business. Now, we all know our goal is not to be the lowest price, but rather the best solution for the customer. And I always have that drum beat going about it's all about building value, boom, boom, boom. Got to build value with the customer. And if you don't create a reason in the customer's mind, you haven't really created value. Okay? It's the operative word is in the customer's mind, not your mind. You might think you've given the customer good reasons to go with Klappenberger and Son, but perhaps none of them resonated with the customer. At least those last 2 out of 10. For example, you might have quickly mentioned or went into great detail about our warranties, which is fantastic. But if the customer plans to move out of the house before the warranty is fulfilled, they don't really care. You could mention that once we show up for a job, we don't leave to start another one. But if the customer has never experienced this problem, it's not going to create a lot of value in the customer's mind. You could tell them about the paints we've tested, our YouTube channel. But if they're planning on selling their house soon, is that going to create value in the customer's mind? That we have to find what the customer is interested in, what is going to build value. And how are we going to do that? Got to ask some questions, right? Great question to ask. A discovery question is, did you hire a contractor to paint your house last time? A nice innocent question. If yes, then probe a little bit more to find out what they liked, what they didn't like, and you'll find out what's important to them. If they say we weren't happy with them, please tell me more. If they say that they weren't happy with them, please tell me more. But if they're complaining about the contractor from the previous work, just do just do two things. Listen and be empathetic. Listen and be empathetic. When they're complaining, they're venting. And the last thing they want to hear is anything that sounds anywhere close to, well, Klappenberger and Son doesn't do that. It might just make them feel like they were foolish or stupid for not picking us. We don't want to put that awkward feeling into their mind. What we just want to do is listen and be empathetic. And I always say, I think it's a great practice. I learned it from Dale Carnegie. When you give empathy, give it in 3 sentences. Don't just say, "Well, I'm sorry they spilled paint." That sucks. Other questions you can ask are you planning on selling your house anytime soon? Question number 3, is the job time sensitive? Is there a birthday party, Christmas party, bar mitzvah, anything a deadline where we need to get this job done by? Good information. Then the next one's a little tricky. You're going to have to ask some questions to find out about the quality of work that they're looking for. Sometimes it's kind of obvious if their house is in immaculate shape, if they have nice furniture, nice artwork, you saw their garage was spotless. They're probably pretty picky people. They probably want a nice, neat job. They probably want straight lines and good prep work. They probably want a good quality paint. So some of these things, but sometimes you'll have to, I used to feel the trim and I would say, hey, this trim's a little rough. Have you guys ever noticed that? Would you like us to give this, we like to give the trim a nice sanding. Is that important to you? Try to get a feel for what their expectations are, what they're looking for. Okay. So our discovery questions are really only who painted your house last time? Is the job time sensitive? Um, are you selling the house anytime soon? And identifying what type of quality of work that they're looking for. Okay. Near the end of the conversation, after I've gathered information and I have a really clear idea of what I think is important to her, how I can build value, I would say something like this. Mrs. Smith, excuse me, Mrs. Smith, I want you to know that sometimes we are the lowest price, but most of the time we're not. The cost of painting your house is based on similar jobs that we have done over the last 35 years. So we have a lot of experience in painting homes like yours. It's based on a certain number of coats, quality of paint, the prep work, the primer. And in doing so, we can offer longer warranties than our competitors. I'm sure as you have collected some estimates, maybe not, but maybe I'm wrong, but maybe some of the estimators who've come, they really just do a really quick job. They do a quick walk around and they didn't take any measurements. And it's almost reflected in in their proposal. They're kind of vague. This is going with them. It could save you money. I don't know, but it can be risky for you because if the job is bid too low, we've seen this, you know, many times over the years. The job is bid too low. The painting contractor, typically what they do is they skimp on the number of coats that they put on, and it's impossible for you to walk around the house and make sure everything got two coats. They might have four painters painting and all that. You don't know what's going on. You hope that they do the right job, but in the end, you have to trust them. Our warranty, because we offer a 5-year warranty, it binds us to do things properly. We can't skip. We can't skimp on the number of coats. You know, we're going to give you a price. Our price is fixed. That's not going to change. It might not be the lowest price. It might be. I don't know. But I can promise you this. We offer you a 5-year warranty. If it starts to peel, chip, we're going to come back and fix it. All right. So that's something what I'd say. And what I like about what this is the first sentence is, I want you to know that sometimes we're the lowest price, but most of the time we're not. So it's a very soft way of letting them know that probably not going to be the cheapest price. But our prices are based on doing similar jobs to yours over the last 35 years. That's a lot of experience. And then I do a really, I really, when I talk about the competition, I want to overemphasize that this isn't all the painters out there. This isn't definitely going to happen to you. I have no idea who you got your estimate from, but this does happen. And painting contractors do skimp on putting a second coat if they can get away with it, or if they're going to lose money and they just want to get out. We all know that that's true. But what I don't want to do is don't want to say all of them or most of them. I want to say be as safe as a distance to not just be throwing out an obvious fear factor uh, scenario. So discovering what is important to the customer is the only way to build value. In a follow-up, I'll discuss options when price or speed is the dominant value building strategy. So I want you to have this down pat, please. What 4 questions, and I asked them in this little video, what 4 questions can you ask to discover what is important to the customer? And if it ends up being quality, how would you build value with the customer? Give me 6 things that you could say to the customer that would help build value. And I have probably about 8 things throughout this whole thing that do. But can you give me name 6 things that will help build value? How are you going to build value? When you leave from that customer, and you walked outside to meet me. Let's say I was outside the house waiting for you to come out. I said, "Hey man, what did you do to build value to that customer?" You would have to be able to say, "Well, what was important to them was quality for the outside of their house." And what I emphasized was, the warranty or whatever it is, come up with 6 things to build value on. Now, you're probably not going to want to hit them with all 6 at one time. If you hit them with maybe 3, and then when you call them up after you sent them the proposal, you could hit them with maybe number 4, then a subsequent email number 5 and 6, and you follow up with them and hitting them, and you can reiterate 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. Like, for example, you could give them some testimonials as a great way of building value. Show them the other things as well that will help build value. I think you get the idea. So have 6 things on the top of your mind of what you can do for building quality, and what 4 discovery questions you can ask to find out what's important to the customer. You got this. I'm really looking forward to seeing you getting your close rate up 10, 20 points higher. Be good for you, good for everyone.
Another successful project completed for Clappenberger in Montgomery County.
That's great.